So the title, the focus of this podcast, this Battletech podcast, Hidden Gems in the Battletech universe. One of the interesting things about Battletech is there are a number of players. There's this duality of a large player base based on the years that Battletech has been out there, but a dedicated player base, dedicated to the narrative, dedicated to the tactics, very, very passionate. And I'm not saying that it doesn't exist in other systems like Warhammer 40,000, but certainly, look, I love Warhammer 40,000. I'm a diehard 40K player. I will be playing 40K for as long as I can play 40K. As long as I can find players, I will be playing 40K. But there is a different feeling. There is a different deepness with Battletech. And as I've been pushing stuff up onto YouTube and watching battle reports, I love Ouchie's battle reports and everything, it's amazing how much knowledge tech that the community has. So I want to tap into this, share with you my 2 votes. Then I'd like to hear from you. What should I be looking at? What should we be doing? So Hidden Gems of Battletech. Certainly based on our gaming group and based on the type of missions and the battle value that we play, and this is true of any war game, you get this kind of DNA of how you play games, what the standard game is. That's why when I go and visit another group or another batch of players somewhere at a club, I'm very open. I kind of go with my army if it's 40K or Battletech, and how do you guys play? What are the missions you do? You know, I want to just get that experience because I realize that gaming culture is, even though it's like, one state over in Connecticut, is vastly different than how I play. And that's a great part about having rules that we all agree on, but exploring them in different ways. So tapping into the Battletech community, finding the hidden gems. What, in terms of units, cross-pollination, cross-units, what are some of the hidden gems in the Battletech universe that I should be looking at or I don't know about? And we're going with Total Warfare on this, open to absolutely anything. Here's my 3 votes. First, infantry. And I've posted about this before. For any battle value game, we can come up with 100, 150 points worth of infantry. You can take jump infantry if you don't have a transport. If you do have transports, you can do goblins or something like that. Or you can go for a Karnov if you want to go kind of air on there. But at the very least, and certainly I think for Total Warfare, 1/3 should be dedicated fighting infantry with the appropriate support for mobility and fighting vehicles. But even if it's like, look, I'm playing all mechs, you could take 2 or 3 stands of jump infantry. They add so much to the game. They can act as crit seekers. They can just dig into some terrain, a forest or some sort of bunker. And unless you've got machine guns or flamers or something dedicated, they are really challenging to dig out. The jump infantry are pretty fast. They can act as indirect spotting. I mean, there's just so much for the battle value that they can do. If they can hot drop in or they can swarm attack, I mean, there's a lot of opportunities on there for the battle value that we can scrounge up. Warriors, the VTOL, stock. For the battle value, something that can fly high and fast, attack at range with the autocannon. Okay, not a lot of damage, but against vehicles, turn 1, you're going to be able to get side armor. That means you're going to start hitting with motive hits. That means most likely attacking tanks from side armor. You're going to score turn 1, turn 2, some motive hits. You're going to slow them down. If the dice are hot and you can get some crits in there, that might be a turn 1 immobilization. Or kind of a mini immobilization if you're facing some heavy tanks that are only moving 3 or 4 or 5 hexes a turn, and they get their motive hit cut in half. That's massive. Also, turn 2, turn 3, you can be attacking the back of mechs on there for just sniping for no battle value. Fly up a little bit higher, and now you've got essentially a table-wide spotter for your indirect. Even if you don't have dedicated indirect units, multiple longbows, multiple archers, backed by LRM carriers. You've just got, one mech with an LRM. I mean, maybe you've gotten an Orion on there or a Cyclops or something, an LRM 10 or 15. You push that out, that one little warrior for the battle value just opens up so much. Absolute hidden gem. The third is situational, but I think it opens up a lot. On table artillery with how that plays. Now I know in the rules you can take off table support and kind of lob that in and shoot that in, and there's a timing and does it really cause any damage. But I feel like that's, as a miniature game, I want to have the stuff on the table. So taking a long tom or taking thumpers and kind of playing them out. Yes, there's certain vulnerabilities there. Yes, you have to call it, and there's the different phase that it lands, and is it really going to hit? If it does hit, kind of soaks different areas. That, as soon as we start looking at that, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, I don't. You've never faced artillery. That's all theory. That's all nice. That's all textbook. You're sitting there training as a mech warrior on your simulation and on your computer. You sit down on the tabletop, and I've got 2 or 3 thumper batteries starting to just land stuff on you, shots and stuff. You're going to disperse. You're going to kind of move out. And it's not so much the damage it does, because honestly, it is consequential. Okay, even if you get a lucky hit, I'll take that damage, but it's not game-changing. But every turn to now have something else from the opponent's perspective to track, to try and figure out, and if it does land or if it scatters, where things go, it's nice. It's really, really interesting. And for the battle value that it costs, it's next to really nothing on there. It's very, very interesting. Those are my votes for the 3 hidden gems. Interesting that it's like kind of infantry, vehicle, and artillery. But are there some mechs that usually don't get played? Is there some later clan invasion tech that doesn't get played? Is there some aero tech that I should be looking at from the Battletech community, from your secret archives, if you will be so gracious to share? What do you think? What should I be looking at from there? I'm almost done with my next lance. I'm ready to acquire some new models. I'm ready for some suggestions.